Hey everyone, Derek here, and welcome to episode 6. If you are tuning in for the first time, I traveled from one end of Japan to the other in 80 days, and this series is basically my diary of the trip. Over the last few episodes, I traveled to Okinawa and Kyushu for Phase 1, and now I'm back in Tokyo for a bit until I start Phase 2. You'll either hate or love this episode depending on if our interests overlap, because I went to a bunch of different events. If you watch the World Cup in Qatar, then you'll know about the crazy surprise upsets that Japan pulled against Germany and Spain. You may recognize some of the names that were just called out here, as Doan and Asano were the goal scorers against Germany. Yeah, I came back from Fukuoka for a crazy weekend of events. The first was the soccer match. It was the Kirin Cup Challenge with Japan's Samurai Blue versus Uruguay. Somehow I lucked out and got 11th row. And the atmosphere was insane. It finished 1-1, but glad to have been able to see at least one Japanese goal. Sorry, I didn't get the goal, and I hardly caught the celebration. This is Gerard. He's from work. We have gyoza. The next morning, I met up with my pal Gerard at Tokyo Station's Ramen Street. We grabbed some tsukemen, which is basically like ramen, except the noodles come cold and separate from the broth. You dip the noodles in the broth and then slurp away. This was enough of a meal to get me ready for a music festival, Punkspring, at the iconic Makuhari Mess in Chiba. My Chemical Romance was the headliner. Unfortunately, Sum 41 couldn't make it out, which only got sadder when they announced their breakup. Luckily, I've seen them plenty of times in the past. Of course, I caught other bands such as Ash to Hero, The Interrupters, Simple Plan, and Bad Religion. I didn't film a whole lot while I was there, and I'm not too sure why, so hence the little slideshow. A lot of the bands were international, so it was actually fine to film or take pictures of them. Only the Japanese bands were restricted. Anyway, I did film some MCR, so here you go. So, quick story time while I make my way to the concert I was looking forward to the most. Back in 2019, I visited Japan, and my friend and I were wandering Akihabara looking for a specific camera shop. We got sidetracked and lost for a bit, but finally found it. And while looking around the shop, a song comes on where I was like, yo, this is awesome. So I Shazammed it, and I fell in love with the music ever since. Everything that went wrong that day worked out somehow, because if we got there when we wanted to initially, I never would have heard the song. When I got home from that trip, I learned that this group, the World Standard, or Wasuta for short, had actually performed in Canada for the first time, and so far the only time, just months before I discovered them, which sucked. Sadly, I knew it meant that I would have to be in Japan to see them live, and I was waiting since 2019 to do so. Since then, they lost a member, and I started to think that I would never get the chance to see them. Kinda just assumed that they'd call it quits by the time Japan opened back up to the world. But here I am for their 8th anniversary show, and yeah, they're an idol group, don't judge me. By the way, you don't always get to pick your seat. For many seated shows, there's basically a seat lottery, so with my luck, it was a rainy ass day and I got seated at the very last row in the back. But I was just happy to be there. After the concert, I stuck around Zepp Haneda because, oh shit, they had a second concert that evening and I got tickets to that too. Luckily, the seat this time was much closer. If you want to skip, there's timestamps. I get it, this ain't for everyone. But when I watch this in like 5 years, I want to get stoked about this all over again. And yes, I'm counting this as 2 separate shows, because 2 different set lists.
I'm at the Sunshine City Prince Hotel, which is in Ikebukuro in Tokyo. A nice view. So I'm on the 22nd floor. Got a really nice desk lamp here, which I'm sure is... okay. Fuck you too then.
If you're a huge fan of Pokemon, Sunshine City is the place to be. Basically, a giant section of the floor is dedicated to Pokemon. The Pikachu Sweets Cafe line was snaked around the front, and I was told it was about a 45-minute wait, so I didn't bother. At the time, the keychain plushies were sold out as well. When planning to visit, make sure you have a ton of time set aside for all the lines. I gotta say, I love the plastic models of all the Pokemon scattered about. They're so cool. The Pokemon Center Mega Tokyo is one of the largest Pokemon centers, but it's also one of the busiest. Last time I was here, Mega Charizard was the mascot. This time it's Miraidon, since Scarlet and Violet are the latest games. You can clearly tell which starters are everyone's favorite. Also, there were no Miraidon plushies, just Koraidon. It also being the busiest Pokemon Center means that there were a bunch of empty shelves throughout the store. Anything out of stock at this location, though, I was pretty easily able to find at other locations.
I feel like I need to get this.
I didn't wait in line to buy anything because, again, long wait. The most unique thing about this location, though, is the Pokemon GO Lab. There's a real-life Pokestop and the life-size models of Professor Willow and the team leaders. I believe this is a gym in the game as well. There's also an awesome trading card game area. The tables look so intense. It's awesome. Also in Sunshine City is the new Bandai Namco Cross Store. There's an arcade, a bunch of figures on display, this Ichiban Kuji store, which is where you basically buy a lottery ticket and win the prize underneath based on the letter you get. A is the best prize, and down the alphabet where the prizes are of lesser value. They stick all the claim tickets on the sheet so you can see your odds at the remaining prizes. The big draw here, though, is the large gachapon store. They've got all kinds of stuff. Anime character goods, video game characters, food, appliances, most random stuff, honestly. Even if you don't want anything, there's just something about throwing your money away just to see what you get. Or maybe I just have a gambling problem. Anyways, it's literally amazing here. No matter where you look, you're bound to find something that you like.
Yeah. Oh, sick. I got the Mewtwo for $5. I mean, there's definitely worse gachapon out there.
Also in Sunshine City is the Sunshine Aquarium. Sadly, I don't know what happened to the footage I took from here, which is a shame, because the aquarium has a rooftop area with otters, pelicans, and penguins. It's a very nice aquarium, much smaller than the one I went to in Okinawa, however. Luckily, I took a bunch of pictures of the penguins with my phone at least, and sadly, the penguin show that normally goes on here was actually cancelled for the unforeseeable future because of a bird flu outbreak. Kinda wish I noticed that before going in. After all the shenanigans at Sunshine City, I headed over to the newly reopened Animate here in Ikebukuro. This became the largest anime shop in the world, and it had opened up just about a week before I went, which is crazy. I'll be honest, I didn't do much shopping here because I had a time ticket for an exhibit in their event space. I had time to check out the Rent-A-Girlfriend mini exhibit that they had going on. Fun fact, Rent-A-Girlfriend, or Kanojo Okarishimasu, is the only manga I've ever read. The exhibit I went to was the My Dress Up Darling exhibit, which featured everyone's favorite 2022 waifu, Marin Kitagawa. They had some sets built from scenes from the show, such as the iconic bikini scene in Gojo's room. I started filming and then was told by staff that I wasn't allowed to. Only pictures of specific things indicated by a sign were okay, so my bad. There was a bunch of the manga and anime panels, however, pictures weren't allowed of those. Basically, only Marin's cosplay outfits from the show and some of the recreated sets were okay to take pictures of. The exhibit ends with a gift shop where you can buy a whole bunch of goods, acrylic stands, pins, plushies, and the exhibit guidebook as well. Yeah, super cool. For my last night in Tokyo, before I head out to the next city, I wanted to check out the sakura or cherry blossoms at Ueno Park. I would have loved to go during the day, but this day was just too jam-packed. My camera doesn't have an aperture low enough to do it justice. I tried with my phone as well, so I did what I could. This was my first time seeing so many sakura trees in one go. So far it had been maybe like 1 or 2 trees scattered around. They were in full bloom this week, so naturally it was very busy, and they don't really last that long, so everyone wants to go at the same time. I can't say I blame them. There's 2 Poke lids here. That's the first. So, this was supposed to be the start of Phase 2, but instead this is more like Phase 1.5. Long story short, I'm headed back to Tokyo for 4 days after this. I'll explain more in the next episode. Right now, I'm on my way to Toyosato to check out something right out of an anime. First, I needed to stop in Maibara to transfer. This was the first taste of a small countryside station. No one really around, and everything was just so calm and peaceful. It only got more tranquil once I got to Toyosato. I loved this walk, seeing the crop fields and seeing all the K-On! Posters randomly scattered throughout. And yep, I went to the school from K-On! I love it when anime is based on real locations. I'm kinda sad I didn't get to see more. I definitely wanted to go to Shimokitazawa to see some of the Butch the Rock stuff, but unfortunately I couldn't make it out there. But I'm glad I at least got to see this. When I saw this was only a short detour on my way to Nagoya, I was like, yes, absolutely yes. If you're unfamiliar with K-On!, the show is about a group of high school students that form a school band. Being a musician, obviously I gravitated toward this concept. I'll try to put the comparisons from the anime on screen. I wasn't really trying to match my footage with any particular scenes, so the angles may be different, but you get the idea. This is the music room where much of the show takes place, and they had the bench where they sit on, the table where they have their tea and conversations, and the piano. I absolutely loved seeing this.
So cool.
The rest of the school was, well, just a school. It was neat though, seeing the hallways and the classrooms. Pretty much any anime that takes place in a school looks similar enough. It's different from schools in the West where I'm from, so even though it's not that exciting, it's still cool to see the differences. The auditorium with the benches and stage was also really cool to see. Then on one of the wings, they have the K-On! Museum, where every single piece of K-On! Merchandise ever produced exists. I didn't fact check this, so I'm sorry if I'm wrong, but looking at this collection, I think it's super fair to say. They even had real versions of the instruments that were played in the show. Ritsu needs an upgrade though. There's a stunning Mapex Saturn Evolution kit in the similar Tuscan yellow lacquer. Love you, Mapex. Before I headed out, I went to this nice bakery next to the station that had a bunch of memorabilia as well. And their bread was so good. Also, I find it funny that this Azusa sign thing has one side super tanned. If you know, you know.
Feel? Tanned.
To finish off the day, I made my way to Nagoya. In the next episode, I'll be exploring here a little bit and then making my way to Kanazawa before I head back to Tokyo. I wouldn't be in Nagoya for too long, so I went to the Pokemon Center here to cross this one off my list. Unsurprisingly, they had everything that the Mega Tokyo store in Ikebukuro had, and more, and without the 40-minute checkout line. And yeah, so I picked up that weird Pikachu deck box. If you enjoyed the series, be sure to leave a like and comment, and subscribe to see all the action unfold. That's going to be it for now because I felt like this episode was super jam-packed. I'll see you in the next one.